Hi, I'm Dr. Erica Zelfand. In a previous video, I talked about the hammer and the analogy of the hammer. How as long as we are hitting ourselves with metaphorical hammers, we're likely not ever to be fully clear of our health problems. There's one hammer that is so important that it really deserves its own video. And that hammer is unresolved pain and anger. That hammer is the way we keep other people on the hook and the way that we have sometimes a hard time forgiving others. And so I want to talk about forgiveness, because forgiveness is one of the hardest things for us as humans to master. I myself have struggled with this because I used to think that forgiving somebody meant that I was condoning their behavior, or that I was letting them off the hook, or that I was minimizing the amount of pain that I was feeling as a result of that person's wrongdoing. I also used to think that forgiving somebody meant making up and being friends again. And there were people that had hurt me or done me wrong that I never wanted to see again. I had nothing to say to them. I hoped that my path would never cross theirs, and I certainly did not want to be friends. And so I didn't forgive them. Some of you know that I'm recently getting back from a sabbatical in Africa where I was working as a doctor and as a health educator. And in my time in Africa, toward the end of my trip, I actually stopped and visited South Africa, which, as you may know, has a very fraught history, huge injustices done, lots of acts of violence and cruelty and prejudice, and some would say unforgivable acts. And that's when I encountered the work of Desmond Tutu and his writings on forgiveness. And I really liked what he had to say about forgiveness. He lays out all the steps of forgiveness. One is naming the story, just telling the story, what happened from your point of view. And that can be talking to the person that you're working to forgive, ideally, or it can just be telling your story to a friend. The second step is to name the hurt. It's to name the actual feelings that you are feeling. Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it doubt? Is it confusion? What are you actually feeling? Because what you're feeling cannot be denied. It doesn't matter if you try to talk yourself out of feeling a certain way. You can't change how you feel, and you just need to acknowledge it. The third step is forgiveness. But here's where I think it gets really interesting. The fourth step is that you can renew your relationship with that person, or you can release it. Now that really goes against this notion of kissing, making up, and being friends again. Because you can forgive somebody and then never see them again. And that's allowed. Now the difference between not forgiving somebody and never seeing them again is that you're not free. But when you forgive somebody and never see them again, you're free. The other thing that I really like about thinking about forgiveness in these ways is oftentimes we talk about forgiveness as it's a virtue, as it's this thing we have to do, as bad people don't forgive and bad people hold grudges, good people forgive. That puts a lot of pressure on ourselves to forgive when we're not ready. And sometimes we say that we've forgiven somebody when we really haven't. What we've really done is we've pushed our hurt feelings down, and then we've kind of brushed them under the rug. And we pretend like they're not there, but those feelings are still there. And that's why it's important not to glaze over steps 1 and 2 that Desmond Tutu describes. You got to tell your story. And you got to name the hurt. Just give it a name. Just acknowledge it for what it is. Now, not all of us can confront the people that have actually hurt us. But one exercise I'd like to suggest that I have seen to be very helpful to my patients is to write a letter to the person that hurt you. You don't have to send this letter. In fact, you probably shouldn't. Put everything in it. Put everything in this letter that you want to say to this person. Tell your story, name the hurt. We're not at forgiveness yet. Don't worry. Just get it out in the letter. Now, I used to end the exercise there, but one of the great naturopathic physicians and a mentor to me, Dr. DR.Z, offered me another step. And the other step is, after you've written that letter, write the response that you want to hear. Write the letter that this person should have written to you. Write the letter that you would have loved to have received from this person, acknowledging their part and telling you whatever it is you need to hear. Even though something within us knows that that letter is a work of fiction, it doesn't matter. It still helps us release on a subconscious level. It's still healing for us. In my own life, I really struggled to forgive somebody who had greatly hurt me early in childhood. And as I entered adulthood and as technology became more advanced and Facebook came along, this person kept sending me Facebook friend requests. And it sounds so petty, right? Like, who cares? And I would see their face and their name pop up on my feed, and the trauma that I had associated with this person would come up all those years later. And I really judged myself for still feeling those negative feelings. And I'd feel a slight sense of smug satisfaction with myself every time I would click ignore on their Facebook friend request. Every 6 months, this person would come up on my Facebook feed with a friend request. And this same process would happen. The bad feelings would come up, and then this self-righteous retaliation of hitting ignore. It was pathetic. That's not who I am. But then I encountered this work, and I really, truly, honestly, I forgave this person. I chose not to renew the relationship. I chose to release it. To let this person go on their way to their own life, to their own fate, and I to mine. 2 days after I did this work, guess who sends me a Facebook friend request? I didn't feel any of the negative feelings. I didn't feel smug or self-righteous. I clicked ignore. I don't think that person's ever going to message me again. I just know it. Because I've released them. And in the process, I've released myself. So, who are you keeping on the hook? And how is keeping them on the hook hurting you? Because you're the one I care about. I hope that the information in this video can help you get free so that you can thrive. Forgiveness isn't something you can force. It's a process, and it's worth doing. And if you don't do it, dear one, I'll forgive you. I'm Dr. Zelfand. Thanks for watching.